I'm Jaime Levine, Executive Director of Elder Law and Advocacy. Today we are having a different kind of conversation. Normally we talk about scams and elder abuse and things affecting clients of ours. But today we're talking about what it takes to be a leader of a nonprofit organization and what can be done in order to facilitate better outcomes for those leaders and for those nonprofits. And today I have in the studio Dikla Cohen Michaeli. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
So Dikla has been the executive director, chief executive officer, correct?
Yeah, I think it's
CEO
the same, yeah.
of Calo, which you can tell us what that acronym stands for 6 years?
No, for actually almost 2 years.
2 years.
Yes.
Oh,
But I've been a member for more than 5 years. This is why you're getting confused.
okay.
I'll explain.
Oh, good. So that's interesting. So I've been an executive director for 3 years here, a little over 3 years. You've been an executive director there for 2 years, but you were executive director at least two other nonprofit organizations for much longer periods of time.
Yes.
So can you just give us a little bit about your background as an executive director, and then we can start talking about Calo, whatever that is, and why it's important for executive directors to have this opportunity.
Okay, great. So yes, as you said, this is my third role in running nonprofit. I've been in the sector for over 25 years. I'm addicted, yeah. Once you're in, you cannot go out. Even though I had a very short episode in the business world, but I went right back to the nonprofit. So what is Calo? So Calo is a nonprofit dedicated to strengthen the nonprofit sector within each location we're building chapter, and I will explain. And we do that through investing in the most precious and critical assets of the nonprofit sector, which is the leaders, the executive directors. We believe that they lead social changes. They see the marginalized population nobody else sees. We want to support them. Most of the time, they're lonely at the top. And this is the reason our founder decided to open this nonprofit. We started about 6 years ago in Israel. Now we have chapters in New York, San Diego, San Francisco, and Pittsburgh, and we're expanding in each place. And as you said, I am the CEO for the last almost 2 years, but before I joined Calo just as a member, just like you. So
How long were you a member?
I'm still a member, by the way.
How long have you been a member?
So my forum runs for 5 years already, a bit more. I'll explain. So we do. How do we invest and work with the leaders, with the mission leaders of the nonprofit? Our flag program is leadership forums. We're inspired by organizations like YPO and EO and Vistage that are doing it for the for-profit. And what we did, we adjusted to the nonprofit sector, and we're also making it accessible since it's very expensive to join the other organization. And yes, so.
Why is it important for nonprofit leaders to have access to this kind of forum or technology?
So, as I said before, being an executive director is being at the top of the pyramid and making all decisions, all the responsibility is on your shoulders. And you have your board. Sometimes it's a great board, supportive board, sometimes not. You have your staff, you have your donors, but each one has a different interest. And in the end, you as an ED has to make all the decisions. And having this kind of forums, a forum of leaders, of people who are in the same position as you, going through the same journey, the same challenges, crises, understand what you're going through, and supporting you and giving you more perspective, opening your eyes, it is something that I think every ED needs to have.
Yeah, I can tell you about my own anecdotal experience. So, as I said, I became ED about 3 years ago, a little more. And at the time, I was just an attorney. I just saw clients. I had no management experience at all, and I was just kind of asked to join that level, that executive level, and I really had very little idea of what it actually required. So suddenly you're answering to a board, and you have to deal with finance and statements and year-end closeouts and deliverables and insurance and putting technology in place and making sure that HR is on top of things and making sure that nobody sues the organization. Like, it's, you can't really understand how vast the role is until you're in it. Unless maybe you've been an executive assistant to a CEO before and you just keep getting tasks. But even then, you're never going to see the full picture because there's only one person in the organization that sees it. And so I was invited to join Calo. And I remember the first day when we were kind of introduced to the concept and asked to share about our business, but also about our personal lives. I had never actually been in a situation like that where we were being asked to share in this kind of very meaningful way, and to be open and somewhat vulnerable. So that was the first day. And then we've met regularly since then, and I think it's been really helpful to me personally as an executive director, and personally just in terms of making decisions about my life, actually, and being able to help the other executive directors. So for me, it was a very unique opportunity, and that's why we're here today talking about it, because I want to be able to share what I think is so important about Calo, and you're the right person to talk to about that. So with that, I'm assuming you've had a similar experience since you've stuck with it for a number of years and you've become the executive director. Do you want to talk about your experience with it?
Yeah, I just want to say something about what you said. So you said it was really surprising for you that you talked about yourself and your personal life. So in Calo, the approach is we look at you as a whole person. You are a leader. You're running the organization, and this takes a lot of time of your day. But you're also an individual, having family, having your own aspirations, development, and they're combined. I mean, if you grow as a person, you grow as a leader, and the opposite. So when we say, if you want to be part of this cohort, we meet every month for 4 hours in person. It's a lot of time for us as executive directors. It's investing a lot of time. We have to bring value. So we have a very structured methodology that we stick to, and norms that we believe that if we do them, it will give you, our members, value, and it will develop you personally and professionally. So this is the reason we see the person as a whole, because something can happen to you in your personal life that will influence the way you lead. And we want to support you in this part too, because it's not apart from, okay?
Right. And I mean, as executive director, something happens in your personal life, you could have some kind of crisis going on. You can't bring that to work.
Exactly. But it influences you, of course, the way you handle things. And so
so I want to get into actually that structure, like what makes it so unique, like what makes it a safe space, and what makes it possible for you to give the kind of support that you envision to those executive directors.
Okay, great question. So we build forums, leadership forums, 8 to 10 executive directors. By the way, we accept only executive directors and CEO to Calo. And the idea is to create a safe space is because we want to give you the opportunity to bring everything, to bring the really, really deep challenges and crises, things that you're dealing only with yourself. Because if we're talking general things that you can talk outside, there is no use for this, 4 hours that we take from your life. So how do we create a safe space? First of all, we make sure that in each forum there is no conflict of interest, meaning there will never be someone from the same field that you are, no competition, okay? You can say anything, but you know that nobody's ever going to use it against you or Okay, you cannot have any business relationship with other organization within your forum, or for example, same board members. Anything that will prevent you to talk freely is a conflict of interest. Okay, and we make sure this is not happening in each and every forum that we have. This is the first thing. The second thing is, by the way, the outcome of this diversity that happened in the forum is that we have EDs from many types of fields and many different organizations. For example, in my forum, I have a global organization, a local organization, different, like we have health, we have education, welfare, and there is so many different ways of managing and running the organization, a way of thinking, and we get, and all this information is in the forum. So within each forum, we have 300, 400 accumulated life and professional experience that we share with each other. So the other thing that makes this place a safe place is that there is a full confidentiality. Whatever we talk in the forum stays in the forum. It doesn't matter if tomorrow it's a big crisis and tomorrow it's going to be in the newspaper. Still, things that we talked within the forum, it's much more that, will be written in the newspaper tomorrow. So this is why we keep confidentiality. So we want people to be really free, not politically correct, say what's on their heart, talk about their failures, talk about what they're scared of. Because if we talk about the real deep things, then we can really work and develop from there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah. I'm going to refer to my notes because I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah, sure.
So we have non-competition, confidentiality, no judgment.
Yes. We have few things that also, norms that are very important for us. So there is no judgment. People can say everything. There is no one that is better than the other. We're all equal also in terms of importance, but also in terms of time. So we have a timekeeper, and as I told you, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's very structured. We have 4 parts, and then each part is divided into a certain amount of minutes, and each one is getting the same amount of minutes. So there is equality also in this. And also, I think when you have a certain time, you have to focus, and we want you to talk about the real and the deep things and the top 5%, either or bottom 5%. So people, don't talk around. They talk straight. When we meet Calo, other Caloers around the world or in your chapter, there is there is this language that, you can talk about the real thing really fast, really direct, and yeah.
One thing that is important in the Calo Forum is learning how to listen.
Mm.
Can you talk about that?
Yes. This is also something that we teach, and we see that it brings a lot of value. So in Calo, we teach how to listen. So we don't interfere. While you're talking and you have your time, we're just listening to what you're saying. We're not thinking what you should have done differently. We're not thinking what we want to share or tell you now. We just listen to the feelings behind what you're talking, and also what you're really saying to us. What do you really need from us? This is something that it takes time. And since our forums runs for years, as I told you, I'm with my forum over 5 years. So there is no ending point. It's not a 6-month program. Once you're in, that's it. It's for life if you want to stay. So this listening, this knowing how to listen, it's an amazing tool, by the way, and you can take it, everywhere, to your work, listening to your employees, to your children, to your wife, spouse, and also when times go by, you see that you really know the people that are in your cohort. You really know them, and you already know what you want to give them, what part of your life experience you want to share that will help them go through their specific stage that they're sharing right now. So
Right. And one of the tools that you use is when someone is sharing about something, the others are not allowed to interrupt.
Yes.
And for certain people, that's probably something hard to do, because when you hear something that gives you some trigger of some kind, or you want to tell that person that you either acknowledge what they're saying or you have some advice, that changes the dynamic. So what is that about?
yeah, this is exactly it. It's really listening, really wanting to understand what this person is going through, not me. It's not about me now. It's his time, so it's about him. I want to really, really understand my friend. What is he going through?
Right.
And this is, it's not easy. It's not easy for all of us. You know, we want to say something, even we want to comfort, but we wait. And yeah.
It's probably particularly hard for executive directors or CEOs, because they're making decisions all day long, and sometimes they're trying to get from A to B in a very direct way, and to just listen is probably not something that they're used to necessarily.
I think all of us have a problem listening. I think it's also because we want to help sometimes, and we want to calm down the person in front of us, and it's okay. Like,
right.
No. And this is also good that in Calo we have time, so you cannot talk forever. You have to choose your words, and you have certain time to share.
Right. And then once you're finished sharing, then you can invite certain types of feedback or input. So how does that work?
Well, so it's really different from each part of the structure meeting. But let's say if this is your turn to present, okay, a topic that you want to understand better, or a crisis or an opportunity that you have and you don't know. So you have your time to present it, and then there is kind of clarification questions that we ask you, and then we don't give you advice. We give you experience here. Because we believe that giving advice is, first of all, it's our tendency, and it's usually from wanting to do good, wanting to help you. But it's also unconsciously saying, you don't know and I know. And it's also saying, I know what is good for you and you are not, okay? So when we share experience, it's we put our heart, and like you just shared something, and we put a part of a similar experience we had, and we say what we learned from it, what we would have done differently, or what we managed to really succeed in this. And we want to, and then you, as a presenter, you can choose whatever resonates to you. If it's, you have the power, you have the, so you get so many perspectives, and you take whatever is right for you.
Right. So that's kind of some of the core concepts. And what have the results been? You mentioned that you are expanding. You have, in Israel, you have a very large number of people, even a waiting list. And now you're in the United States. I know in San Diego, we are starting a second or maybe more than that forum. So what are the results for the people who are participating, longevity, and what are you looking to do in the future?
So since there is a really great success and people are really interested in this and wanting to be part of this, we are starting to expand, as you see, and we're opening more forums in each location we already started. I think that the experience, I can talk from my own experience, but also I know from other members, is that having this kind of board of directors, but they're your own board of directors. They see you in the center. They see your interest. They want you to succeed, and they also how do you say, like they save your they have your back. They have your back, and as I said before, we are running together for a long time, and we create this safe space, and you bring your true self. and you bring your vulnerability. Sometimes it's the only real place that you can stop and discuss this. I mean, like, we are waiting for this meeting to bring everything and everything that happened to us, and we want to hear our peers what they think, how they see it, what can I do better. Yeah, I think it's for me, it was, I've been to many programs, okay? Many programs, many courses, many workshops, seminars, but it was the most powerful one for me because you learn from real time. It's not an article or a model or a measurement model that you might use or you might not use in the future, but maybe inspired you, but it's real time, okay? It's something that you
Yeah.
can take for your everyday.
Yeah, and some people, you might, as a new executive director, it can be very difficult. So, say you've been
Yeah.
thrust into this role, and you're learning everything in real time, and you're discovering certain crises, and work is very, very hard. And then you go home. Maybe your home life isn't so great. Not everybody has the perfect home life, and they come home and
Yeah.
they don't get to relax, and they don't
Yeah.
have someone that wants to hear about what's happening at work. That's the reality for some people. So having
Yeah.
this kind of relationship or forum that is a place where they can have real discussions about what's going on at home and in their work is really unique. So I have some questions that I want to ask you.
Yeah.
What are the differences between nonprofit CEOs and for-profit CEOs, and what's the difference between running a for-profit and a nonprofit?
Okay, well, this is a great question. First of all, I think management is management, leading staff, managing resource, taking hard decision. These are the same, but in the nonprofit, we're impact driven, and in the for-profit, they are income driven, revenue. Okay, so when as a business, when you have more clients, you have more money. Okay, we in the nonprofit, when we have more clients, we have more beneficiaries, we have less money. We need more money.
Right.
We need much more money. So I think this is the fundamental difference. But then we're also dependent on philanthropy, which is another source of income that doesn't necessarily exist in the for-profit. I mean, they have investors, but it's a bit different. And not all businesses have investors. So this is a route of income that we are totally dependent on, that sometimes does not really understand the field. Some of them does, foundations and private donors and organizations, but many times they do. They will donate the money to a certain program, and they want the money to be directly for the beneficiaries when they don't see there is an operational cost and employees. And so we are struggling. It's a lot of struggle all the time. We have boards. So I think.
Well, it's there's certain realities about nonprofit leadership that are unique to just nonprofits. And I think when you have conversations with people who are running for-profit entities, they don't really understand the structure. So the fact that we basically operate in a place of scarcity all of the time, and also there's a certain precarious nature to what we're doing, because the money we have today may not be there tomorrow, and we're underpaying our staff because we just can't afford to pay them what the private sector pays them. So these are the kinds of things that EDs at nonprofits have in common, but really most people don't understand, or they would understand them, but they just have really no reason to delve into those kinds of things. But when you get into the forum, when you talk about your board of directors, and when you talk about the scarcity, and we talk about development and the grants, and those are all things that everyone in the forum has experience with. So it's a real opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, I think also the infrastructure of business is they have CFOs, they have COOs, they have CTOs. as a CEO, an executive, we hold all these heads together because we don't want to spend more money, or we don't have this money, or so we juggle, all the time. And you were talking about in the beginning about how they saw you as a successor, but you were an employee in their organization. So this is something that is very common, like the most, the executor, the employee that is very hard worker, he's the executor, he takes more tasks upon himself, he's generous with his experience, ideas to his staff and to the organization. These are the people who are chosen to be many times to lead the organization, but then they have to shift from being an executor to being a visionary. But in our world, we still have to keep, all the rest of the balls.
Right.
So it's a lot of things that you have, a lot of skills that you have to need running nonprofit organization at the same time. So.
Yeah, and I mean, that was my experience. I was not sort of hoping to become the executive director. That really wasn't on my radar at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got there, and actually Carolyn, my predecessor, had
Mm-hmm.
written out what the tasks were that she does, and it was kind of a book.
Yeah.
It was like, like there was a chapter on insurance because we have so many different kinds of insurance, and there was a chapter on HR, and there's all the chapters that you would ignore as an employee.
You don't even know that exists.
Right.
You don't care. You're
insurance.
working in the field. You're working, yeah.
Exactly. So it's just I think that's one common experience amongst new EDs, that they are suddenly thrust into a role that they didn't really anticipate, and they have to contend with.
And sometimes it's not even their tendency. They want to work, they want to do, but they have to, they have to fly like a bird and look at the things from the top
Mm-hmm.
to where we want the organization to go. They don't have to deal with the task anymore.
Yeah.
And everything that they can delegate, they need to delegate, but still their tendency is to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really shifting. It's really changing identity when you're becoming the head of the organization.
Yeah, completely. And also, so the variety of tasks that you become responsible for is vast, but also the buck stops here with the ED. Like when you have a finite job, very often you work your hours. You might love what you're doing. You might be doing amazing advocacy of some kind. But at the end of the day, your day probably ends. Yeah. Whereas with an executive director, if someone suddenly disappears or quits, that becomes your job.
Yeah.
So in addition to everything else you're doing, you have to pick up the slack or figure out how you're going to get someone in and hire someone very quickly. All those things end up being your responsibility. There's nothing finite in that role.
Yeah.
So that's something else that sort of struck me, and I think is a common theme amongst CEOs.
Yes. I see that a lot, that CEOs are doing everything, and
Yeah, and even if it's not a crisis, there's still scarcity, so you may still have to be doing a lot of different things that you would love to delegate, which is what you mentioned. You don't have a CTO, and a COO, and a CFO. All the C-suite is you. Are there common patterns that you see in the nonprofit leaders that you work with?
Well, yes, that's a good question. So I think there is an unspoken rule in the nonprofit sector that is sacrifice. Since money is coming from donors, since we want to invest this money in, the marginalized population that we're working with, we need to sacrifice. It's on the table, but it's also unconsciously. So we don't take too many employees because we save money. We don't give too many raise. We're not asking for raise for ourselves. We're not investing time in ourselves, in personal and professional development, because we need to work. We cannot, stop and be selfish. And I think this pattern is actually doing the opposite to the organization. Is actually it's dangerous for the organization, because if we don't take care of our employees and make sure they get, I know it's really hard, but get the salary they deserve, or if we don't invest time in their professional development because we need to work in our professional development, then the organization stays and not grow. So I think this is a pattern that we should look at and see. It's not only happening where I told you, it's happening everywhere, in every small details that we do. And I think that maybe sometimes it's the right way to act, but we should always ask ourselves, look at it and analyze. Is it coming from sacrifice? Like, our time is less important than the real, the big sacred mission that we are leading now. So it's something that I see.
So you think it's this sort of scarcity mindset that is kind of a reality for nonprofits, just ends up being pervasive in everything that happens?
Yes, I see that a lot.
Yeah, that
And
makes
it
sense.
influences the way we make decisions, the way we see things. And as executive directors, we have to see behind that, because many times it makes us stay and not grow, go to our next level. Because if we take good employees, they might even bring more money, be more efficient. Okay, so if we invest time in our development as leaders, if we're EDs, it doesn't mean that we don't have where to grow. The opposite. It's just the beginning. And if we bring it to our organization on a regular basis, our organization will grow. It's not being selfish, stopping, and taking time to learn more, to understand more. It's on the contrary.
Is this something that is part of the Calo education?
I think, what do you mean by that?
I mean, is
Explain.
this something that comes up in Calo forums, and is it something that...
Yeah, I think the mindset of the culture of being, sacrificed is something that you can see everywhere. If you start looking at from this, glasses now, you will see that it is always coming up. Yes, and not all the time it leads you to the right decisions for the organization, for the beneficiaries, for the population that you want to help. Yeah, I think another thing is that when we enter the sector, the social sector, we enter with our heart. We enter with a wish. We want to change. We want to do something good. But once we become executive directors, we understand that there is an organization to lead.
Right.
Okay, so and we have to make hard decisions. We have to be rigid. We have to be very strict sometimes. Not everybody can get. Sometimes everything has to do with money in the end. Okay, so it's kind of a balance we also have to look at. It's not like once we become the head of the organization, we leave the empathy at the door. No, we take it, but we have to make the balance. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's also something that I see a lot.
Cool.
The struggle between the mission and running the organization, and the responsibility by the end of the month to pay salaries to our employees.
Yeah. And I mean, this is something that sort of comes up where leadership has to make decisions about priorities.
Yes.
And so where are you going to invest money? Are you investing money in your programs, in your people, in your development? And I guess that also becomes an issue that the board has to look at when it comes to strategy and things like that.
Yeah.
What do you think happens in a cohort experience that does not happen in traditional professional development?
Okay, so first of all, I encourage, and I think it's really important to always develop yourself. I mean, to get inspired, to learn more, to bring it to your organization, as I said before. But I think the difference is that professional development can be inspiring, but not relevant to what's happening now. Can be relevant a few years from now. Sometimes you can take and do something with it at the moment, but when you have your cohort, when you have, for example, your forum, and you bring real-time dilemmas that are many times mutual to other members in the forum, then you get to really deepen and understand. I'll give you an example, okay? So my previous nonprofit I was running, a new mayor was elected, and she had this coalition agreement of giving buildings of the city. One of them was the building that I was in charge of, and giving services to tens of thousands people in need, children and families with chronic disease, elderlies, lonely elderlies with no social background. So then I get this letter from her. She says to me that says I have to evacuate in 40 days. I'm talking about a huge building, okay? That gives services to tens of thousands of people.
Wow.
And I call up my forum. I have a meeting next week, and I call up. I say to the moderator, I say, I want to present a crisis. And this is something, so my master is in nonprofit leadership in a very good program, okay? But this is something you don't learn in the in university. So I go to my forum, I present, and then it was amazing because I get so much information, how to deal with the media, something that I didn't even think about, how to deal with
Lawyers.
With lawyers. Yes, is she even allowed? The building has been given to the organization 25 years ago. Is she allowed to do that? How to engage with other politicians that can help me, how to communicate to the beneficiaries, to the board, how to recruit my staff to this. So it was like mind-blowing, the information I got, the numbers even of people to talk to, reporters, lawyers, PR. So yes, it is something that you don't learn, something that is happening to you and you have to deal with. And then, as I said, you have 8, 9 peers that they have different experience, each one in different fields, and they give you this information and what they managed to succeed and fail, and then you build up a plan from that.
So what ended up happening?
It was it was crazy. So we went to court with her, and then yes, but we won. So
Wow.
the building stayed. She's gone. She's really a new mayor already in the city. But yes, it was. But it was more than that, because I knew that my forum had my back, seriously, and I knew that every moment I have an opportunity to call, and I did before every interview. To newspaper or radio, I would call my friend to prepare me, or so
Yeah.
this is something very strong, I think. That
Yeah, I'm an attorney, and I meet with legal services executive directors all the time, like from all over California mostly.
Yeah.
And so I might be in a meeting with, say, 10 or 20 attorneys who are also executive directors, and we all have the same background. We were attorneys, and then we became executive directors. So we all have that one approach and background. But when I'm in the Calo forum, it's totally different. And when legal issues come up, they're always asking me because I'm the one lawyer in the room. But when things related to, I don't know, one of the forum members is on a farm, and so when issues related to property come up, very often he's the one who's challenged in that way. But it's
the diversity in the forum is a huge contribution to knowledge, experience, and
What does it mean to invest in yourself as a leader when the prevailing nonprofit culture often treats self-investment as a luxury?
Okay, so I'm going to answer with a story I heard and loved. 2 woodcutter go to the forest, same time in the morning, cut woods. One of them goes in the afternoon for a break for about an hour. Come back, keep cutting the wood. The other one that stayed for the same hour kept cutting woods. At the end of the day, the person who left for an hour has much more wood than the one who didn't leave. This happens for weeks. And then the friend that has less wood said to the other woodcutter, I have to ask you, how is it possible? You're leaving every day for about an hour, and at the end you have much more wood than I. And he answers him, I go to sharpen my axe. And this is exactly it. We have to look at professional development as sharpening the axe. And this is how I see Calo. Okay? This is exactly how I see Calo. When I was proposed to join my forum, I was in the middle of a crisis. I think we're all in middle of a crisis all the time, okay? But I felt like I'm in the biggest, crisis. I was building this guest house for children with cancer, signed a contract with a constructor, and I didn't even have half the money I needed. And it was crazy, okay? And I said to her, I'm so sorry. I have no time for it. And I've been in many programs. And I said, I'm so sorry. I have no time for this now. It's a lot. And then I meet my organizational consultant. And she looks at me. I worked crazy hours. And she said, do you ever stop to think? And I said to her, I don't have time to think. I mean, like, look, you know better than everyone what's going on here. And she's like, no, you need time to think because otherwise you will drown. And then I remember at night I went back home and I said, this is it. I'm going to Calo. This will make me stop for 4 hours and think. And I call up, her name was Brona, and I said to her, okay, I'm in. And it was a life-changing because it really makes me stop and think and listen and hear other executive going through the same thing as me, but we're growing together as people and also as leaders. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for you to replenish your resources and to share and to kind of support all the others in the same way.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk a little bit about the inception of Calo because it was started by 3 very interesting people, and I think it would be very interesting to hear about them and their journey.
Okay, so we have 3 founders, Ofir Kedar, Eva Kedar, and Yuval Shenhar, 3 remarkable people and inspiring. I'm very lucky to be part of this team and to learn all the time from them. So each one of them has a different path. They're all social entrepreneurs, but Eva, for example, she has a PhD in organizational psychology, and she's an author. She's a management consultant, she's a leadership coach, and she's a YPO certificate forum facilitator. She is working a lot and researching the leadership transformation through meaningful relationship and support group. She's an incredible resource for us because everything we do, everything we develop in our methodology is her amazing brain and creativity. And so...
What is her involvement? Is she on the board or is she...
She is the founder. She is the one. They are supporting with funds, of course, and also she's in the board, but they are very involved. So we're a fairly new organization, and she's in everything in decisions, but I think her biggest contribution is creating and supporting the value of the forums. So we actually, for example, we have meetings, all the moderators, we didn't talk about it, but Calo is a member-led organization, means that each forum has a moderator from the group. In the beginning, we have YPOers or EOers volunteering for a year to run the forum, to teach us the model. And then the leadership is turning
right.
into our hands. Okay, and so we run together the moderators forum from California and from New York and from Pittsburgh, for example. And she's a real contributor in talking about best practices and what is the next stage of the forum. How can we become better? Okay. So, and each forum, by the way, goes to a retreat once a year together. And in each retreat, the forum chooses where to grow in their leadership path. So this is also something that we're building together. The workshop, the training of what the forum should do. So yeah.
Okay. So Eva's directly involved with that process.
For example, many more processes,
Okay.
but I think she's an extraordinary creative brain in this field. So
Amazing.
yeah. So this is Eva, and
How about Ophir Kedar?
so Ophir is a former high-tech entrepreneur who built and exited a company. He is a member of YPO for many, many years, I think over 30 years. And actually, with his friends from YPO, they created this amazing cross-border program for dialogue and peace between countries in conflict. For example, in the Middle East, they had a forum of leaders from YPO, Palestinian and Israelis, Muslims and Jews. They had Indian and Pakistanians. They had Turkish and Armenians. So,
Wow.
yeah, it was a really, he did it with friends from YPO, and they really had a great impact of leaders all over the world talking about dialogue and promoting peace. So yes, social entrepreneur is in their heart, and yeah, they started Calo because I think they understood the power of YPO and what it did to them and the transformation they went through, and they wanted to bring this magic of the forum to the nonprofit sector.
Okay. And the three of them.
And Yuval Shenhar.
Yes.
Yuval Shenhar is also a real estate entrepreneur in the state. He was also the chapter chair of YPO Israel for a long time, and he was also initiating social project with YPOers, and for now he's also the chapter chair of the Calo Israel chapter.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of connection with YPO. We have people from YPO volunteering as chapter chair in our chapters and modeling us and teaching us. Everything is adapted to the nonprofit world, and they also run the forums. And
Amazing. So the three of them are still quite involved
very
and
yes.
intend to be, at least for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, of course. We're not
Okay.
going to let them go.
All right. Yeah, they sound incredible, actually. Which brings us to the future. What is the vision for where Calo is going?
So first of all, our flagship program is the forum, and this is where we want to invest everything, and we really believe in that.
Mm-hmm.
But we do want to create within each location, we are growing chapters. It means that you have few forums in a chapter that work together. We want you to get to know more nonprofit executive directors in your area and collaborate and partner with each other, because within the chapter it's allowed. Within the forum, no. We keep really strict
Boundaries.
yes. But within the chapter, we'd like you to collaborate, to learn, to work together, to partner. And then, so the idea is to create local communities and then national communities and then international communities that you can reach out. So we have in our site, we have a page that only members can enter, and then you can see all the members all over, and you can see another member from law firm that you want to consult with, or you want to learn from, or you want to meet when you go to New York or Pittsburgh. So it's open to you, and so it's something we really encourage, and we want to create this huge community of nonprofit leaders around the world that support each other and partner and share ideas and knowledge and innovation.
That's wonderful. I'm looking forward to that. I know we are, I'm not directly involved, but you are working on a second forum in San Diego, or maybe more than a second forum?
Yeah, for the moment, we'll start with the second. Once it's secured and established, we'll start to open the third one, and so on. Yes.
Okay.
And then you'll have a chapter here, which is amazing. And
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Well, thank you very much for coming in today. It's, as I said, it's been a great experience for me to be part of Calo. I'm really excited for what you're building and your vision for the future, and I'm excited that we're going to be involved in it. So thank you for coming into the studio, and if you ever want to come back, we'd love to hear more about what's going on with the organization.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Our pleasure.
It was a pleasure.